3. Yeah. So anyway, so that's my story. I remember who I was, and then I did a hypnotic regression. I recovered. There's usually like a screen memory. I remember something, and I'll say to doctor, listen, there's more to that story. What else is there? So we'll do a session, and then all the other information will come forward. It's not real difficult to get to it, but there are blocks, and then sometimes you can't get to it no matter what. So it takes time. It's like the Russian dolls, right? You know, the information is kind of inside each other, so you have to take out the top piece, and then you get access to the pieces underneath.
Well, the Ascension Age covers that. What?
Are you a walk-in?
Are you
the original soul or a walk-in?
At the original, up until 4 years old, because I knew who I was when I was 2. I know where we lived. I knew all the information. I knew all of it, but I still have all that information. But I know that I was somewhat different at age 4 with my family. That's when I learned of the, you know, you have the one in space, and then you have the one on Earth. And then I had past life memories. But I went to White Sands and was different, too, when my uncle worked for Los Alamos and then White Sands. So I have different memories here just like I do in past life memories. So I'm much more complicated than anybody that I've met thus far. But at one time, when I met J. Allen Hynek, before he died in 86, I was reading Ruth Montgomery's book, Aliens Among Us. So I know that part of me thought I was, because I was trying to learn about my entire path, the open walk or the spiritual path. And Ruth Montgomery and I were talking. I liked her book, and she and I were writing to each other. So when J. Allen Hynek came by me on a plane, I used to fly a lot, a whole bunch. But I don't know, Ken, it's like knowing or meeting you. I talked to him, but he came by me. And J. Allen Hynek said, excuse me, I was on the inside halfway in the plane, and he was in the back. But he said, he walked by me 2 or 3 times. So he said, do you, I noticed you were reading, he didn't say what you're reading. He said, do you believe in that stuff? And he was sort of sarcastic, so I didn't know how to answer him, but I tried to read him real quick, and I saw he was a good man. He was curious. But the first time we came by, I just mentioned something, but he came back by again, and he asked me, I don't know what he was doing going to the front of the plane. It wasn't that big of a jet. But he said, do you mind, the second time he came by, he says, listen, we've got a wall, and it was a long flight wherever we were going, and I know it's something to do with Chicago, or we both boarded O'Hare or something. I was in and out of O'Hare a lot. I was in and out of all over the country a lot as an investigator. But he said, do you mind, can you come back to the bulkhead, which is the back end of the plane, the tail? He would always sit right in the tail. And, Ken, you can tell me why. I guess it's supposed to be the safest place, right? But
well, it's the last part to break off.
Okay, well, that's where he sat, and he asked me to come back there, so I did. I got to know him, and I'm sure there's a file on me with not CSETI, CUFOs, right, Center of UFO. But this was back during the time where, like, Dr. Bruce Maccabee and APRO, all those people. We got to go way back into the history of UFOs on the planet, folks, and I plan on doing that. So, Ken, what topics do you want to see happen? Do you have them split up other than past lives or consciousness and memories versus – because, see, in the Ascension Age, that's what I got. My downloads in the 80s, I don't think I was a walk-in, but at that time I was looking for how am I supposed to put all these pieces together. And Dr. J. Allen Hynek, I blew him away. He had never met anybody like me. Totally blew him away because I was much more intelligent than he thought I was going to be. Or at least it's what he told me. That's what he told me anyway, because I had different parts. So in one way, in one school, Ken, I may be a part of me, but on the other hand, I may not be. because of my DNA, and I'm working with too many people on the human genome, or we call it a project, but working on what we are with, every part of us, and telomeres, and the future of humans. So we're all part of all these groups that have come and gone, right? But the memories of being here now, and people we left behind, and people we left on the planet. And, we're proving now that we're billions, billions, and billions of years old. So it just depends on where you're at in your life discovery. But let me give you two. Please tell me, what part do the topics, levels, timelines, and metaphysics, are you willing to come back and talk about that? It's very complicated, this UFO space stuff. It's not just the people. It's everything that involves.
I think at this point, my mother used to always say, if you want to know something, just wind Kenny up and put him in the corner and he'll entertain you. I believe that. There's any subject. I don't think there's any subject that we can bar, but we just need to know how to approach it, kind of like what we did with Bill Tompkins and our connection there.
You want to keep building. Go ahead.
I'm sorry? Say it again?
I said we'll keep building, so go ahead. Yep. Yeah, go ahead.
That's what I think, that opening it up for other people that have had similar type experience. We've touched on enough tonight, I think, that ought to start people looking at their past lives or their present lives and experiences, the things that they've experienced more recently, and see if we can't bring it out there. Because I'm this whole business, I don't mean business as making money, but because I don't know if any of us are really making money. Maybe they're just covering our expenses to get to and from some of the meetings.
It costs me more money. It costs me money to do this in the thousands every year, because I produce, and Janet does, to get the word out. That's
the point. And to get the word out, we need, hopefully, that what we're doing will trigger people's thoughts and let them realize they're not alone, and that there are those of us that have stepped forward and cleared the path, that then they can now come forward with the experiences they've had, because that's what this is all about. I touched on it in the very beginning, where that people panicked and jumped over. We are now mature enough as a species that we can accept that we're not alone in this universe. That's insane to think that we are. And now it's time that we should be moving forward, full disclosure, to make ourselves recognized in the universe and become part of the intelligent sentient beings. And by that I mean the positive ones. There are some negative things that we've got to deal with, but right now let's deal on the positive and see if we can't push this thing. I put out a year or two ago about the 2018, before the end of the year, which is coming real soon, we will be into full disclosure. And that depends upon what some people say. I feel like what we've done tonight is full disclosure. We just need to keep it going for everybody.
Janet, last words until you want to do this next week.
I love that. Yeah. Well, I'm all about disclosure, and of course, disclosure has many subparts, and it's disclosing the whole paradigm of what's going on, what's really going on underneath the public educational system, which seems to be more programming than it is authentic information about what's really happening. So I've been on my other show interviewing all these whistleblowers. Everybody brings a piece of the puzzle to the pie, and I don't judge anybody's stories. I know some people get bogged down in, are they lying? They telling the truth? That to me is like a waste of time. I'm getting the story. What's the story? What's the story? Because there's so much mind wiping and shooting and shaming and all this stuff that layers over people's stories, and they're afraid to tell it, or that it can't come out. So I'm encouraging this story to come out, and then I approach it a different way. I look at the commonalities, the similarities, and I get the bigger picture. I'm looking at the big, giant picture of what's really going on, and finding the multiverse that works best for everybody. That's what I'm looking for. What reality can we all converge upon where everybody's going to get their needs met? We're all going to be happy. And I know there is a reality where, we don't have so much suffering and death and dying and every day somebody's killing somebody. I can't just like to turn on my phone or my TV anymore. Somebody's killing somebody. Public executions and these terrorist attacks. So we've got to get to a level besides warring on each other, either on the personal level or the galactic level or the planetary level. Finding this place where we can all love each other and be in peace and harmony and cooperation. So that's what I'm looking for. So if this is a path to doing it, sign me up. I'm ready to go until it's over.
And people, if you want to know UFO experience with David Wilcock, Corey Good, Emery Smith, Dr. Stephen Greer, Dr. Michael Sala, all those big names, and Richard Dolan even, and those, you're separating it by thoughts and people and individual authors. But what I want to do is bring an author's book club together with Ken and Janet, and we would appreciate it if you will write everybody has their own life story. So if you will, let us know, are you more into alienology, ufology, or ufology? Because I remember when the ufology, we were fighting over whether we were going to make that a word or not. I also remember when we were fighting, were we going to be aliens or ETs? And we decided pretty much back in the day we would call aliens the bad guys and extraterrestrials the good guys. But after a while, that didn't fly. But I do want to mention start Skydancer UFO Con, 37 days to the event. I just was notified today, January 19th. Put it on your calendars at the Holiday Inn, Houston Intercontinental Airport. That's 15222 John F. Kennedy Boulevard, Houston, Texas, 77032. Now, my contact is Daryl Sims with our Alien UFO Hunters, plural, just like the television show. And so you guys know I'm into paranormal and supernatural. I'm a TV blogger for television shows. I don't make a penny at this. Matter of fact, it costs me money to do this. It costs me a lot of money. So people, we are going to be hopefully helping each other. And now Tommy's got his own channel on here, so I have to thank him for the last 6 months as a space holder on the Universal Life Ministries. We have people that do prefer to talk only spirituality, and through those filters and those names, and that's fine. We have spiritual science. We have ascension. And ascension, when I got the download and got all of this, got me started, and I want to talk about that. And Janet, the Crop Circle lady, she's been in touch with me and put us on UFO Secret Space. So next week maybe, I didn't see Chan come on unless she tried to get on Skype and couldn't. And so did you see anything from her in your anything?
No. All right, you've got the back end. You're the only one who has the back end.
I didn't see anything. So, folks, we will return. Ken, you want to be a co-host for this Thursday night with me and Janet? That means we'll be stuck. Mm-hmm.
I'm available, so I guess I'm available.
All right. Well, I'd like to start billing you and see if you can show up, because if nobody else, we'll have the three of us as a panel discussion, which worked well tonight, but we may get into these topics, levels of life, timelines, and metaphysics that's in UFO Secret Space Command to start. And then in here we've got how we deal with ufology, alienology, avatars, New Age, metaphysics, and Ascension Age. And New Age is separate from Ascension Age. Ascension Age officially began 12/21/12 and the Kali Yugas and the time on the earth. But we can talk about what the government believes, what we believe, and I didn't even get into the reality of my husband's story. Janet knows a little bit of it. Ken, I don't know, and I don't know that Ken knows all of it, or a little piece. But Tom Morris is okay. He was a CIA agent I was married to, and he and I both worked for President Reagan. And I had to wait till I felt comfortable, because I knew of President Bush and met him, and the Men in Black came around me to make sure that they emptied the Memorial Park when he was going to run to meet me. And that's a whole show. So Janet, if you can, stay in touch with me and Ken. And Ken, we can each talk about what we're going to start building up for these shows. And then I want to have a conference down here, and I can invite up Dolores and Betty and Barney Hill's niece.